support for Buhari diminished the stars of these southern politicians. Every king's court has its fill of wise men and men of valor. Yet every king deserves to be humoured. Therefore, every court has a court clown or a team of court jesters. Court clowns are not noblemen, though they may be in the presence of the king all day long. The king may even actually love them, but they never can grow in status nor acquire any semblance of nobility. They forever remain commoners and are content and indeed honored to be considered worthy enough to be in the king's court. There's also a risky job. They are receptacles of the king's lack of humor, always ready to temper bad temper whenever the king's mood swings. It has been told of how some court fools or clowns are spontaneously beheaded on the order of a foul-tempered king. All of this unpredictability adds to the mesmerism of being before a king, evil or otherwise. Our present-day kings are not much different from those great kings of yesteryears. They wield almost the same kind of power, depending on which part of the universe their kingdoms are located. In some climes, kings can still, in one moment of wrath, kill or give orders for anyone to be murdered. Why not? They still command the same legion of sycophants as was in the old days. The first rule of power still remains self-preservation, so it is not unknown for kings to go after their enemies with the ferocity and violence of a lion. In today's world, the king still holds courts, call it presidential villa, White or Black House, Zuma or Kilimanjaro. The king has his men of valor, his knights, his hangmen, and of course his band of court clowns. The head of jesters or clowns comes in more colorful and dignifying names these days. You may call him the presidential mouthpiece or chief spokesperson to the king, or in the case the president, he could also be a service chief or a minister. One quality he must have to stand him above all other jesters is that he must be an undying, unashamed, courageous apologist. He must be ready to put integrity at bay and serve his king without fear or favor. To him, the king must be right at all times, and he must be willing to state that fact publicly. In effect, he is the fall guy. He almost be able to make the king laugh when the king needs some humor. In Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari is the present king, and never before in the history of the country have citizens seen great men of integrity reduced to such disgraceful, downish status. Here is a list of great men or otherwise great men who have been reduced to court clowns for the love or fear of President Muhammadu Buhari. The first person is Bola Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also known as the Jagaban Bogu or Asiwaju to his admirers and foes, was tipped to step into the shoes of the great Obafemi Awolowo after he became the king maker of the Southwest, winning all states but one of that zone for his party, the Action Congress (AC). His star kept rising until his romance with Muhammadu Buhari and his emergence as the force which finally guaranteed the president his place in Nassau Villa. No sooner did Tinubu rise to national prominence did his power begin to dwindle. He wasn't allowed free passage into Aso Rock corridors, neither was he allowed access to the king. On his behalf, Aisha Buhari cried out to Nigerians that those who ushered the president into Aso Rock had been sidelined and a cabal taking over the reins of power. Perhaps in desperation to reclaim his lost glory, because he was allegedly promised the seat of power after Buhari, in a deal allegedly sealed at the coalition of all parties that culminated in the All Progressives Congress (APC), Tinubu fell more from grace when he donned the garb of a court jester. His most infamous public statement yet remains his denial of the existence of Killer Esme at a time many Nigerians were being killed and the menace of Esme attack and killing was at an all-time high. To please Buhari and perhaps secure a second term for him, Tinubu stunned the country when he denied the fact and asked what may go down in history as the most foolish question of all times. If they are Fulanis, where are their cows? The second person is Yemi Osinbajo. Professor Yemi Osinbajo, a professor of law and pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, joined the court as vice president, with Nigerians expecting a balance of both intellectualism and Christian values. Yemi Osinbajo clearly disappointed when he told to the powers that be and spoke from both sides of the mouth. Why many Christians believe he hasn't fought for them, Osinbajo seemed more interested in clinging to power even after he had been hugely contradicted and trampled upon by the president's men. He became the messenger sharing the recovered Abacha loot in the name of social intervention and trader money before the election. Not a few pundits raised eyebrows and wondered why a man of the clergy would condescend to buying votes shielded in the guise of trader money. Not even after his staffs were sacked and the vice president's office moved out of Asu Villa as Osinbajo fought for himself. The VP seems happy with his position in court, however lowly it seems. He is quoted as saying, "Any nation that does not support integrity will fail," a clear anathema coming from where he sits. The third person is Adams Oshomole. Adams Oshomole reigned as the most proactive labor leader Nigeria ever had. His fall from grace to the causes of jesters and clowns probably began when he was made chairman of the APC. Like the rest of Buhari's men who outdid themselves to please him, Oshomole made the most ridiculous statement months prior to the presidential election when he infamously proclaimed, "When you join the APC, all your sins will be forgiven." The other person is Rotimi Amechi. Rotimi Amechi may go down in history as the head clown of all. Among many of his false past remains a released private conversation where a voice alleged to be his confided that Buhari does not read and Nigerians are suffering. This was before the 2019 election and many political pundits predicted that Amechi was a gunner. However, Amechi outdid himself during the elections and staged nothing less of a war to secure his Rivers state for the president. APC and Buhari lost Rivers, but Amechi seemed to have regained his position in court and was rewarded and retained as minister. The other person is Godswill Akpabio. Nigerians were held spellbound as Godwin Akpabio, SY governor of Akwa Ibom State, crossed to the APC and began singing in discordant cacophonic tunes. He made statements in direct opposite of what he had stood for hitherto. He told befuddled Nigerians that God had ordained Buhari and how there had been no other president who developed Nigeria as Buhari did. He went along on campaign trails and publicly bowed to the king, pledging allegiance everywhere he went. One political critic at the time described Akpabio as desperate and disgusting. His sudden loyalty paid off. Akpabio is today minister of the Niger Delta. The next person is Audi Ogbe. Audi Ogbe is a seasoned politician and one-time chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Soon as he was made Minister of Agriculture, Ogbe's statements shocked even the most foolish. First was his plan to import grass from Brazil. Then Ogbe told the country Nigeria was now a big exporter of yams. As it turned out, the yams crated and sent overseas rotted before getting to their destination, an act which left Nigerians wondering why export what the country has not produced enough. Ogbe boasted that Nigeria has surpassed even Thailand in rice exportation. He seemed like a clown bent on entertaining more than all other clowns in court. Perhaps the king wasn't so impressed after all with jokes gone sour, Ugbe was not retained as minister. The next person is Raji Fashola. When Fashola, who was seen as the poster boy of the APC, having achieved developmental landmarks as governor of Lagos State, was thrown into the national political arena, he was expected to do big things. However, soon enough he joined the band of clowns. Fashola, who had said it would take just 6 months for a serious government to stabilize power supply, suddenly recanted, and after blaming 16 years of PDP for as long as he could, decided to call for divine intervention, prayers for Nigeria's power supply to improve. He seemed helpless and beaten. Most infamous and insensitive of his statement remains the one made about Nigerian rules, dismissing them as not as bad as they have been made to look. Fashola may never regain his lost glory after this dispensation. The next is Kayode Fayemi. Kayode Fayemi is regarded as a Nigerian intellectual, but his stint with the APC has reduced him to non-intellectual outbursts. Among his most unintelligent sayings was one made after the release of Sahara Reporter publisher Omoyele Sowore and Sambo Dasuki, former chief security officer to ex-president Goodluck Jonathan. Fayemi described the release of the duo that had been granted bail by several courts yet denied freedom by the federal government as Buhari's Christmas present to Nigeria, taking intellectual sycophancy to a whole new level of grand infamy. Others are Femi Adesina, Festus Keyamo, Orji Uzokalo, Isejuwa Esajumi Sage, Chris Ngige, Adebayo Shitu, Lai Mohammed, Rocha Sokorocha, Gbemi Saraki. The list keeps growing in Nigeria's theater of befuddling absurdities. Wow, this is a food for thought. And this article is written by Diri Moji Danisa. So guys, you've heard it all, and there's no need for many talks. What do you think concerning what this writer has written? Please leave your comments below and let's hear your take concerning this. Bye.